Often the most important thing about cybersecurity is to avoid the stupid. If you take care of the basics, it's going to put you way ahead of so many of the other easy prey that's out there. Basically, you just don't want to be the low-hanging fruit. Those are the people the hackers like to go after. So if you take care of the basics, you're going to be able to keep yourself off the radar screen of most of the bad guys. Now, when thinking about what passwords to create, think about who we need to protect ourselves from. We're all aware of the invisible hackers that are out there somewhere, whether they be criminal groups or nation state or whoever who wants to get into your data. That's real, and you need to protect yourself from them by having a password that's hard to crack. But you also need to think about it just in terms of something a lot more local. People you work with, an ex-partner. There's all kinds of people who can potentially do you harm by being able to get into your computer or your apps or your systems or whatever. They're going to be able to approach getting into your passwords in a different way because they know you, they know some information about you, so you need to be able to protect yourself from that kind of intrusion as well. All right, the things to avoid are the dumb stuff, like using the word password for your password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are all bad ideas. Don't use your phone number, don't use your social security number, don't use your birthday. Bad ideas for passwords. Avoid the temptation to write down all your passwords in one place, such as a spreadsheet. It makes you very, very vulnerable, even from someone just looking over your shoulder or maybe going over to your computer while you walked away from it. Because then they're going to be able to get all of your passwords. And an even bigger problem than someone cracking a particular password, now you've got to go into all your apps and all your sites and change all those passwords. So keeping all your passwords in one place, a spreadsheet or something like that, is not a great idea. Avoid saving your passwords in your browser. I know it's extremely convenient and I'm guilty of it sometimes too. It does make you vulnerable. If it's in your browser, someone can access your computer when you're not there. There's a whole bunch of ways that things could go wrong. So it's better to avoid saving your passwords into your browser, if only for the most important stuff, your financial things, your communications. Okay, so how to create a safe password that you'll be able to remember. You want to make it sure it's complex enough. So there's a few things you need to use. You want to use numbers, letters, capital letters, special symbols, and you want it to be at least 8, if not 16 or even more characters long. So instead of thinking about it as a password, think about it as a passphrase. And we're going to create a formula to create a unique and hard to crack password, so that you don't have to memorize it. You just have to know the formula. And then whenever you go to a different app or a different website, you just go to your formula to figure out what you need to put in. So we're going to start with a phrase. And I'm going to start with the phrase, I like the ocean. Then we're going to add a number to it. In this case, we're going to use a 3-digit number, 1, 3, and 5. Now we're going to take one of our words from our phrase and we're going to swap it with a foreign word. I studied Italian in college, so I'm going to swap the word ocean for mare. Now our password becomes 135. I like the mare. Then put a special character at the end. In this case, we're going to use a question mark. Add a suffix that takes a cue from whatever it is that you're doing. So if you are at a website, something that has to do with the website that you're at. So for example, if you're at Amazon, let's use our suffix to be the first and last letter of the company name. So in this case, it would be A-N. Now finally, we're going to capitalize one of those letters. We're going to use the A, and our password looks like this. 135, I like the mare, question mark, capital A-N. The beauty of using this formula is that you don't have to memorize your passwords. Anytime you go to an app or you go to a website, you're going to be able to calculate what that formula will be by looking at your sequence and looking at what you're doing. And therefore, you don't have to pull it out in the back of your memory somewhere. This is also an effective method because it avoids using the same password in multiple places. Each password is going to be a little bit different according to whatever site or app you're using. And finally, what's also really nice about it is that when you change your password, you don't have to change the whole thing. You just change the number. So our 135 number, we're going to change in sequence. And we're going to change that to 246. Another thing to think about are password managers. There's a lot of password managers out there in the market. They will help you create strong encrypted passwords, and also then you don't have to memorize them because it's in your password manager. That's a whole other video. Maybe I'll do one about that some other time. But in the meantime, you can take a look at my friend Pete Matheson's video on password managers. He's got a really good one.